Hey man, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Listen, I don't want to take too much time on this because I think that this is a moot point. The Disney Little Mermaid trailer just came out recently and it sent racist Twitter, racist internet on a tailspin. They can't stand the fact that Ariel, played by Halle Bailey, is run by a black woman. And I'm saying run because she is absolutely killing this. They are finding each and every way to dissect it. We've seen some nasty things, but hey, let me not be the one. They're disguising it with the word woke. Let's see what they have to say.
Well, Disney literally just dropped their first trailer for the woke Little Mermaid film, the film that has already received a massive amount of backlash online, particularly because of the red flags that we have seen with them choosing to go woke over telling a good story. This is a problem that Disney has really suffered from a lot over the past few years, as we continue to see remake after remake, movie after movie that Disney puts out get completely ratioed on YouTube. So as you can see, that is exactly what is happening here with The Little Mermaid. It currently sits at 36,000 downvotes compared to 25,000 upvotes. This trailer honestly could have had having a worse ratio than the Pinocchio film, the woke Pinocchio film that they just put out on Disney Plus a little bit ago. And it's not going to get as bad as Rings of Power, but this is just yet another sign that people are sick and tired of the just slew of garbage that companies like Disney and Amazon continue to give us, because it's very evident, it's very clear that they have no intention of honoring the source material or telling a good story.
Has he brought up anything that would make you think that this was so different from the original story that it affects, the story and other things like that? Has they said anything about, I don't know, Ariel having laser beams on her shoulders or something like that? Has he mentioned anything besides them being woke? I think this is the thing that they really need to discuss. Say what you want to say. Disney's Black Little Mermaid trailer gets destroyed because the Little Mermaid is black. The downvotes are because she's black. There's nothing in this trailer right here that alludes to anything. I've watched the trailer a couple times. I love the trailer. It's a little dark. Movies are getting darker. I don't know what that's about. I be up watching movies squinting and stuff like that. But it's a little dark, but I might be for the trailer's sake. And also that's very, very a good representation of what the ocean actually is, because as you get deeper into the ocean, you can't really see like that. But other than that, that trailer showed no signs of the story for real to let me know that this is any different than the Little Mermaid story to the T. The only thing that was different is that the fictional character of Ariel was not a white girl like the original animated show.
The thing that they're most focused on are their political agendas, their political ideologies, and the woke messaging. So I haven't actually watched this yet. Let's go ahead and take a glance at this here.
I mean, he self-admittedly so he hasn't watched it, so he's ready to destroy it without even watching it. That's a crazy thing to admit. That's a super crazy thing to just admit like that.
Wow, water, guys. Lots of water.
This is the most miserable thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's Crush! Cool. So, yeah, so that's, I guess we're just going to see a lot of ocean and water and everything else.
So, right, you jumped to the conclusion. We're waiting, buddy.
Alright, so do we actually get to see her in the trailer at all? Or is it just like, okay, there she is.
Wish I could.
This is crazy. This right here, he is showing his true colors. But there's a lot of other videos online that break down this 1 minute, 23-second trailer of The Little Mermaid where Halle Bailey is only in there for all of 8 seconds. Out of the 1 minute, 23-second trailer. He skips over every other part. Again, there could have been lasers, there could have been bombs, there could have been anything. I mean, Top Gun could have flew under the ocean in that, and that would have been more credibility than what he's about to say. He skips specifically to where she shows her black face to let you know that, hey, this is not about the storytelling, to be quite honest with you. This isn't about keeping it accurate, to be honest with you. This is about the fact that there is a black woman playing Ariel who's supposed to be a white girl in the fictional adaptation. This is a strange thing. I'll hit that note in the water.
Now, I'm just
I
going to
ain't
say
gonna
this right here, okay? I don't ultimately have a problem with black mermaids or anything like that, okay? That isn't what the root issue is here. The
Well,
root
you tell
issue is
me,
that
buddy.
we continue to see this happening with things like, you know, Rings of Power is a great recent example where we can look at that. We can see the things that were important to the producers and the showrunners for that. And now we see just how crappy of a show Rings of Power actually is, because they didn't actually focus on telling a good story. That wasn't the most important thing to the people that were creating the Rings of Power story. Compared that to Peter Jackson, who made Lord of the Rings, and the things that he found actually important, like, you know, a good story. So when it comes to things like this, okay, do I have a problem with black mermaids? No. Do I have a problem with black elves? Talking about Rings of Power. No. My problem is that you still have to honor the context of what these stories are taking place in. If you want to make an original film about a black mermaid, I don't care. Go for it. I'm not the only one that feels this way. As you can see, just go back to like one of the first live action remakes that Disney put out, which was Cinderella, which came out, what was that, like 6 years ago or something? Actually, almost 8.
Guys, I want you to know he has yet to actually watch the trailer and give us something to work with here. It has to be a black original film as opposed to the already established Disney princesses and adapting them to meet, you know, the representation standards of today, of any time. Honestly, there should be more representation in media. Why that's such a bad thing? Why that's such a thing that has people up in arms about an animated character? Are we serious?
But as you can see, the reception for this was completely different. 176,000 upvotes compared to almost 10,000 downvotes.
Why does he keep saying upvotes?
That is a
instead of likes?
massive difference
I will
than
cut
getting
his
completely ratioed. And that's because Disney's Cinderella actually was a story that tried to tell a good story in its remake. That's not what Disney is focused on anymore. All that Disney is obsessed about is their agenda, is their woke nonsense that they continue to push. So I don't have a problem with Hail Berry. That's not where my problem.
Stop it. We're gonna cut you off right here, buddy. We're going to cut you off right here. And my problem with what you're saying is it's all coded language. You've watched what seems to be, the first 15, 10 seconds that we saw, and then 3 seconds of her holding a note. How can you make these judgments about what they're doing as far as storytelling wise, what their agenda is, how woke they're trying to be, any of that, outside of her being a black woman on the screen? I don't even know if it's that hard to say her name. That's also crazy. I would say the same thing to anybody who also saw 1 minute and 23 seconds of it. How can you say that same thing about a 1 minute and 23 second film? I'm looking at this right here as I scroll down, and it's a bunch of people making either reactions or posts about, you know, the specific trailer and its wokeness, which is crazy. Coming from a 1 minute and 23 second trailer, you are making assumptions about storytelling because it's not your prerogative. There are people up here that want to have clicks and views. Simple as that. I want you to see what happens when you give representation to those that feel like they're not represented.
Otter's reactions to the Little Mermaid trailer.
Mind you, they're watching Oceans right now. Now we gotta talk about getting cameras out of kids' face, though. I ain't gonna lie, but I understand what's going on here. As you can clearly see, those were two black girls who were excited to see their face on a Disney princess. I mean, they were ecstatic. Jaws dropped. We do got to talk about taking cameras out of kids' faces, but listen, man, I think representation is amazing. Let's hear what she has to say.
Well, she's brown. Well, she has brown skin.
Ooh.
And clearly right then and there, it's about representation. She has brown skin. She looks like me. I can identify with her. That's a great thing. That's a beautiful thing. It's great to see people like you in stories that are depicted as good, as cheerful, as jovial, as all these other things that we would say about Disney movies. It's great to see people that look like you.
What do you think about the Ariel that you just saw?
The one that was singing? I liked her.
Why?
Dude, he looks pretty. And I don't know how, if she's not really like a real mermaid, see this like in the background stage, but she's beautiful. And I don't know how she's singing so beautiful and lightly, and yeah.
She's beautiful, and
We do have to talk about how she's underwater singing so greatly. But listen, that's not the point. What I'm saying to you here is that representation matters. And the fact that these grown adults are so up in arms about this, about a children's movie where a black girl is representing a fictional mermaid, is probably some of the most disgusting work I've seen. Right here is a tweet where somebody, 10 gazillion IQ, says that he changes the skin color of Halle Bailey to a white woman in the 1 minute and 23-second trailer of The Little Mermaid. And he says, given 24 hours, he can do the entire movie when it drops. Now, if you can't, I want to go see it. I gotta see it. If you can't tell me that this isn't about race, then I don't know what is. I can't fathom what it's about. And as it turns out, Twitter has gone ahead and suspended both of their accounts for spewing this nasty stuff. You can code it however you want to. Woke cells, social justice warriors, whatever you want to say. This is just giving representation to those who have not been represented for years. I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care if you're a part of the LGBTQ community. And let me say that transgenders are a part of the LGBTQ community. I don't care if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're Indian, if you're Asian, if you are whatever you are, Native American, whatever you are. Your face matters, especially in places that we would consider as power, as the highest of high media. In any situation, your face matters. Representation matters for you. And I would like to think that we could see you on things like big screens to let the youth know, because at the end of the day, this is a kid's movie. I would like to think that we could get your faces in places that matter to you, to let you know that anything is possible. Anything that you want to do, you should reach for it. You should strive for it. And don't let these grown adults who are in their 30s, who take the time out of day to change the movie, tell you otherwise. That's disgusting. But I don't know. I could be wrong.